Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up podcast. Today, we're going through offensive and defensive rookie of the year. We're going to kind of touch base on the odds, but as the title of the show, Drafted Up, we're going to draft it. We're going to draft 5 guys each, 5 offensive guys, 5 defensive guys, so 20 guys in total, and we are going to try to draft the best team to win said award. That's Nicholas. I'm Theo. This is show like 86. I don't know off the top of my head.
Couldn't tell you.
83. It's between 83 and 86, but we're cruising
That's
along.
a very small window.
It's
a small window.
Pushing towards show 100.
We are getting there. Triple digits, dude.
Yeah.
We're over a year at this point. We're just grinding, dude.
Yeah.
We didn't do this last year, correct? This is our first time doing this?
No, last year before the draft, we drafted a team based off success. Like I don't remember who we had.
I kind of recall drafting prospects.
It was like a bonus
for.
Quick episode we did. It was like a half hour, and we each drafted 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and like 2 defensive players or something like that.
Gotcha.
But this year we're gonna do it a little different.
Try the draft rookie of the years.
Yeah,
got to get them right.
Yeah. So Nick will pick first when we do the defensive guys. I will pick first when we do the offensive guys. But
sounds good.
Before we dive into that, we're going to get both sponsors out of the way right off the bat so you guys don't have to
right
worry
off the bat, early.
Worry about it, breaking up the draft. First sponsor, Finley Hats. You guys know, big hat guy here. So the Finley Force, they create hats for good times, and they're unlike any other hat on the planet. They have a lifetime warranty, so your hat is damaged, destroyed, they'll either repair it or replace it with a brand new one. They got the laces that you can secure your hat to your head if you're out on the beach, running around the backyard, or it's a windy day outside. You just want to make sure your hat stays snug to your head. They fit big-ass heads, too. They're really comfortable. My head's huge. They are very comfortable on the dome. You don't have to worry about that weird in-between of, big store hats, whether they're going to fit or not. So join the Finley Force. Get yourself a cool hat. The link will be in the description of the episode. Click it. First-time buyers will get 15% off their purchase. Support our friends at Finley Hats, and you'll be supporting us here at the podcast. And of course, our OG sponsor, Dubby Energy, jitter-free, crash-free, no sugars, no artificial colors, no dyes, no calories. They have a ton of flavors. They got a collab with Solo Leveling. It's an anime. They also do other content creator collabs as well. Like I said, abundance of flavors. They got a Tiger's Blood, which is a strawberry, watermelon, coconut, Pom Blom. It's a pomegranate blossom. Peach and Beach. It's a mango white peach cooler. So many more. And now they have a new flavor that just dropped this week, and it is s'mores. And it's intended to mix with milk instead of water. So really interesting. I kind of dig it. I like weird stuff like that. So check out our friends over at Dubby Energy. Like I said, they pride themselves on full ingredient disclosure and transparency. And of course, use the code DRAFTEDUP for a nice 10% discount on your order. Be better with Dubby Energy. Eat that dub.
You ripped the Band-Aid off. I also didn't know big stores were out to get big-headed guys. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was a conspirity theory you were cooking up.
It is. Maybe. Sometimes
first I'm hearing of it.
Hats are a struggle. Like, with fitted hats, I have a couple, and I traditionally got the same size. And then once I shaved my head, I went down a size because I didn't have any hair that I had to sneak in the hat. And now I get the same size, and I have 3 hats that are the same size and measurement. One is way too big, one is way too small, one is just right. So,
damn, dude, it's like porridge.
Yep.
One's perfect,
so, dude. I have now just switched to snapbacks, and like most of mine I wear on with 2 or 3 punches. These, I can get 4, 5 holes punched out on some of them.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, they're real good for big ass heads. Like myself.
Hey man, I got one of those too. So yeah, I feel you. Dude.
Runs in the family.
Let's get in this, dog. I'm leading off the way with defense.
Hold on. Before we start.
What the hell? What?
Brock Purdy signed.
Ugh.
And I said he would sign on the last episode before training camp. And you were adamant it wasn't going to happen. Big deal.
It's a bad deal.
$53 million a year. It's really not. If you look at the retrospect of who's being paid that amount of money, I think Brock Purdy is as good
I wouldn't pay him.
As
that's
Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence. But that's the name of the game now. You got to pay your quarterbacks to stay. So Brock Purdy locked in San Fran long term 5 years, getting about $53 million a year.
He also had a
stay.
no trade clause in it. That's the big thing about it. They can't trade him.
Okay.
There's a no trade clause in that because Shanahan's quick to switch up on quarterbacks, dude. If you're not producing for him, he'll pull the trigger. He's not afraid to do it. We talked about that's the way he does running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Purdy's agent stepped in there, no trade clause, so he's their quarterback for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
he's a great dynasty asset. I got him in a league. I did try to trade him. I'm not going to lie, and now the trade was rejected. I'm cool with it. Now I'm sitting on Purdy for the next 5 years.
Yeah. I also think this is good for Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. They're
sure.
Locked in long term now with their quarterback. You don't have to worry about a new guy coming in there and creating hoopla like that.
For sure.
Okay, now we can start. I forgot. I had Brock Purdy written on my docket here, and I skipped over it to do the ad reads. I wanted to make sure we talked about it and didn't gloss over that because I know you love Brock Purdy.
Just like he got skipped in the draft 200 sometimes, we skipped over him here for ad reads. All right, so let's go. We're each drafting 5 guys. We're starting off with defense, snake order. So I'll go, TJ will go 2, and then I'll go 2, and then we'll rotate through guys. I really think each spot has a for sure number 1 guy to start.
Agreed. Yep.
Offense has one, defense have one. So I'll just rip it off the Band-Aid here. I'm going to go Abdul Carter, New York Giants, defensive end. I think he is by far the front runner to win Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, that is. There's a couple guys after him that are kind of toss-ups, but I think Carter, because he's got a great cast of guys around him. We have a really good, I'm a Giants fan. We got Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Tavon Thibodeau, and we add Abdul Carter. That's a phenomenal rotation of guys. He's gonna eat up a bunch of sacks, hopefully. I think he could easily push double-digit sacks, and I think he's gonna be on the field a bunch on first, second, and third down. So, I'm going Abdul Carter, New York Giants defensive end here. Like I said, I think we're starting both drafts off with really easy picks, and then it's just gonna get harder as we go, obviously. But
yeah.
Easy one.
I think with offense, there's 2 or 3 other guys that kind of hang with the consensus number 1 guy, whereas defense is a little more open. It's kind of harder to project where things are going to go. Abdul Carter is the number 1 guy in betting odds currently for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and it makes sense. He was the first defensive player drafted, unless you count Travis Hunter.
Kind of.
He was the first fully defensive player drafted.
Yes.
So it makes sense. He goes to a team where there's going to be a heavy pass rush rotation there.
For sure.
In New York. So yeah, the chalk pick, the right pick. If I had first pick on defense, I would go that way as well. All right. So I'm going to have 2 picks here.
I also think there's a guy second that's pretty much who I would personally take over anybody else. And then after that, I think it kind of is. I think third place is open to anybody, dude. There's such a big group of guys that I'd be fine with taking a 3.
Yeah. So right now, Travis Hunter is second in betting odds for defensive rookies, but that's not the way I'm going to go because I don't think he's going to play a ton of defense.
I agree.
And I don't want to shoot my shot on calling that and then just get this guy who then is predominantly an offensive player, and I wasted one of my draft selections. So my first pick, I'm going to go with Jalen Walker, the Falcons edge rusher.
That's the right pick.
He's flashy, plays linebacker, he can do pass rush, so he's going to provide that spark on a defense that truly needs an impact player and a leader, and he's going to bring just that to Raheem Morris's crew. So I like that there with Jalen Walker. And then with my second pick, I'm going to go down the odds a little bit, and I'm going to go with Jihad Campbell, the linebacker, formerly of Alabama, to the Philadelphia Eagles, drafted at 31. He's 2, 4, 6, 8. He's the 8th projected guy right now in terms of betting odds, but linebackers rack up numbers. The Eagles are going to use him a little more as an edge rusher off the bat because that's what they need, but he's going to be this scheme versatile guy, similar to Zach Bond there. And Zach Bond was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year last year for the Eagles. He had a phenomenal year there for Vic Fangio. So if that realm of possibilities there for Jihad Campbell, I think that gives me a good shot as well. I'm taking 2 similar players in Campbell and Walker, both kind of versatile, could do a little bit of pass rush, play a little off-ball linebacker. give us some versatility there, rack up some numbers, and that's what I'm going to try to combat the favorite in Abdul Carter, who he's got the name value, he's got the pedigree, he's got the big market in New York. So I'm going to combat that with Jalen Walker and Jihad Campbell.
Yeah, I was hoping to scoop up Campbell a little bit later, but I do like that pick a lot. But I think Walker was the easiest second pick for sure. He's going to be the leader of that Atlanta defense right off the bat, and it's going to show in camp and preseason instantly, dude. He's the leader that defense is missing. He's going to keep all those guys ready to go, and he's not going to take shit as a rookie, dude. He's going to be the fire on that defense, and that was a solid pick. I'm glad you got that one. Yeah, so like I said here, like at 3, it could have been literally anyone. I had 7 guys in the same bucket here, and Campbell was one of them. So I'm gonna take Mikael Williams as one of my guys. Defensive end, San Francisco, almost a top 10 pick. He goes to a defensive line with Nick Bosa, and then they also added 2 defensive tackles. They added CJ West and Alfred Collins. So their defensive tackles are going to be a rotation of guys, like 4 guys. But I think Mikael Williams and Nick Bosa are going to solidify the defensive end spots. And hopefully they just let him pin his earbacks and go after the quarterback. Let Bosa really man the edge on the other side. And hopefully I see double digits out of Mikael here. He's capable of doing it. He was a freak at Georgia. His production didn't show like it should have. No. But that's Georgia kind of guys. Like, because of so much rotation, they're not on the field to show what they can do consistently.
He also dealt with that injury as well.
Yes, he was injured most of this year, but I think he's going to be on the field a ton very early for San Fran. And they did just re-sign Fred Warner. That's a little news that we didn't brought up. They locked down Fred Warner, which I'm glad. They lost a ton of pieces this offseason. If they would have lost Fred Warner at the end of the season, it would have been a huge blow.
Yeah, and it's come out recently that they were really in on Mikael Williams. Like, he was one of the guys, like, they like top of their board. Like, they wanted to get him. He fell into their lap at 11. And Robert Saleh and crew, they think he's a great player. Robert Saleh, great at developing that defensive line talent. I think that's a great pick. Mikael was the other guy I had in consideration with Jihad Campbell with my second pick.
I do like that. Here, I'm going to get a little bit wild here.
You going to take Travis Hunter?
I am not going to take Travis Hunter, but I am going to take a cornerback. I'm going to take Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, Buffalo. It's a long shot, and I get that, but he's a guy that could easily he could lead the league in picks this year, and it would not surprise me. He's such a ball hawk, and that's what Buffalo is going to need him to do, and that's what they want him to do. His job this season is going to be, hey, get the ball back for Josh Allen, and that's what he's going to do. It would not surprise me come the end of the season if we're talking Maxwell Harrison has 5, 6, 7 interceptions. He's not going to have a ton of tackles, and I get that, but he's such a big play guy. He had 3 pick sixes in his college career. He can easily take any interception to the house. He's such a play maker on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm just taking high upside here. I'm taking a crazy long shot, and I'm just banking on this guy's playmaking ability from the defensive side of the ball. And I think he's going to get a ton of picks this year. And that's what's going to really get voters liking. Like, oh, he's flashy. He's not great football-wise, but he's really helpful for the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, I'm taking Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, Buffalo.
All right. It was not in consideration for me, but that's not a knock on him. It's just usually with things like these, I'm going to lean towards edge rushers because that's what the NFL values. But there is a world where if Maxwell Harrison puts up 6, 7 interceptions and houses 2 of them,
exactly,
and Buffalo's a good team, so that's going to play a factor. They're probably going to win their division, probably be in the playoffs, probably be a top 3 seed in the AFC. So eyes are going to be on him. So it does make sense in that aspect.
And he showed up a ton when it mattered in college. Yeah. Like every big game they had, he was always the one making plays. Buffalo plays a ton of big games, prime time, a ton this season. So all he needs to do is make a couple flashy plays in prime time, and people are talking his name. So I do like a ton of these edge guys and defensive line guys, but like a lot of them are rotation guys at this point. I think Maxwell Harrison's going to be on the Buffalo defensive side of the ball, 70, close to 80% of the snaps. So he's going to be out there a bunch this season.
All right. I'm going to go with just my dude. He's fifth on the betting odds. It's Mike Green, edge rusher for the Ravens. Fell to the second round. You guys know how I feel about him. He was top 10 on my board. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think the only reason he fell was because of those allegations and just the fact he didn't interview well and answer those questions up to snub to a lot of teams. But if Baltimore's willing to take the shot on him, they're a hard-nosed franchise. They don't take no shit. He goes to a team that who builds good defensive players. They build great edge rushers, and he's the kind of edge rusher they need. They sort of just have no juice on the edges. They're more kind of these middle ground guys who can stop the run, can get after the passer, but like they don't have a true designated, like, this is our sack guy, third and long. We're putting him out there and he's going to get to the quarterback. And Mike Green will do just that in Baltimore. It wouldn't surprise me if he led rookies in sacks at Baltimore, another one of those really good football teams. They're always in the public eye, so that puts spotlight here on Mike Green. And then with my fourth pick, I am going to go with Mason Graham. I was a little weary on taking a defensive tackle, but Mason Graham, he plays along a unit who should be good. The Browns defensive unit should be good. He plays next to Myles Garrett, so things should open up. Myles Garrett's going to get some spotlight on him. And maybe Mason Graham kind of sneaks away, has like a big year where he has like 8.5 sacks and a ton of run stops. And if Cleveland sneaks in some wins here and there, it's going to be because of their defense, not because of their offense. The offense, not great. So highly drafted, top 5 pick. So I'm going to go Mason Graham, Michael Green to pair with Jalen Walker and Jihad Campbell.
Mike Green is the guy I had fourth, and I had him over Hairston, but I wanted to pull Hairston. I wanted to get him early. I knew you were going to go Green, so I was fine taking the L on that, but I love Green there. And I had Graham right under him, so everything you said I am going to back up. But hoping you lose, hey, man, he's a defensive tackle, so he's not going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But now, like you said, dude, he's going to play next to an elite talent across the board on the defensive line, pretty much. It's stacked, dude. He's going to be able to eat up single coverage because of who's on that defensive line. So let's see what he's about, dude. He was a high-level prospect. We both loved him. I get he has short arms. He can't separate well. He's not going to have to do that. He's going to be able to eat single coverage. I really like Mason Graham. I don't know how well his stats are going to look, but he's going to be really productive for the Browns. But I am glad you didn't take James Pierce Jr. He is one of my picks. Atlanta traded up to get him. He is the edge guy. I get it. I would rather Jalen Walker, and that's why you picked him second. But there's a chance James Pierce, they just, hey, we only want you to pass rush. That's all we want you to do your rookie season, because that's all we think you're capable of doing. He's going to transition pretty rough everywhere else in the NFL, but his pass rush is already there. They already know he's designed to go after the quarterback, and they traded up and got him. They traded next year's one, so they're going to play the hell out of this guy. They're going to see what he has early, and I think he's going to be on the field a bunch. And Atlanta's missing pass rush, and this is how they're going to get it. They went out and they got Walker, and they went out, traded up, and got James Pierce Jr. So there's a good chance both of those guys are on the field a bunch, and they're both super productive. So I'll take James Pierce Jr., defensive end here, Atlanta. And then my last pick, this is rough, but I think I'm going to stick with defensive end. I wanted to go secondary, but I'm going to go Donovan Ezeraku, defensive end, Dallas. Dallas is always super productive across the board. I get people hate Dallas, and it is what it is, but Dallas drafts super well. And he also, like Mason Graham, is playing next to a bunch of good talent. Dallas is really good defensively. Last year, they took a step back, but the year before that, they had the number one defense of football. So I think Dallas is going to be not quite as good as they were in 2023, but they're going to take a step up from 2024 for sure. And I think Ezeraku is going to be a big part of that. I also think Sivan Revel, the cornerback that they drafted, is going to be a big part of that as well. I think they hit on both sides of their defensive picks with Ezeraku and Sivan Revel. But I think Ezeraku, like you said, it's a defensive end award. If he goes out there and he puts up a bunch of sacks, he's going to be talked about just because he's a Cowboy. His name's going to be in the media regardless of what happens this season because of who he plays for. So, yeah, like James Pierce, defensive end, Atlanta, and then Donovan Ezeraku, defensive end, Dallas Cowboys. to end my defensive player of the year, rookie of the year draft.
Yeah, the Pierce thing, like, he had the character issues and everything, but that's, I don't know if you saw the story that came out about him and the Falcons when the Falcons flew to North Carolina to have a visit with him, and like there was like a hurricane, and the Falcons GM was texting the agent like, "Hey, we're not going to do the workout. We don't want to put Pierce at risk because of the weather." And then the agent texted Fontenot back and was just like, "Hey, James is already trying to find an indoor facility to rent out so you guys can see him work out." And in the end, they ended up agreeing to that. They had to work out. And I think that went a big way in kind of shying Atlanta off of like, hey, like, this guy's trying to show his worth and trying to dispel those character issues. So I think that's a good pick. I ultimately didn't really look at him because I didn't want to piggyback and have both Falcons guys on my team, and ultimately they could end up canceling each other out, and both of us null and voided those picks.
For sure.
I really did want to snag Ezaraku here. I think playing with Dallas goes a long way. He's going to play
for sure
next to Micah. So there's a lot of guys I look like Jahdae Barron in Denver with Pat Surtain. That defense is going to be great. He doesn't have to be relied upon to be the CB1.
He's next on my list.
Even Will Johnson, he kind of fell, but he's got the name value and that chip, the good story. I like Nick Eamon-Wari as like a long shot kind of guy. I think in Mike McDonald's defense in Seattle, I think he could be this weapon and move around. Malachi Starks in Baltimore as well. So a lot of talent on the board that I'm looking at. And that's not including Shamar Stewart, who's sixth on the draft odds right now. Yes, it's signed, and Cincinnati's a mess. So
just pay him. Cincinnati is notoriously cheap. It's insane what's going on in that organization. Yeah.
So I am ultimately just going to pick Travis Hunter. He fell.
Yeah, he wasn't honestly on my defensive player list. I wasn't going to draft him defensively.
I wasn't going to, but he's second right now in the betting odds. He's got the name, like, and there's the chance, like, say there's an injury in that Jaguars secondary and they need him to play corner. So I'm just going to take the shot. If it happens, it happens. I'm fine with my last pick going Travis Hunter instead of using one of my first or second picks. All right, so
that makes sense. I think I would have went with Barron or Stewart, but I totally understand going Travis Hunter there. He is the top prospect defensively in the draft, quote for quote. He was a lot of guys' number one prospect in the whole draft. So if he shows up and shells out on defense, his name's going to be talked about a bunch regardless.
Yeah. So my squad: Jalen Walker, Jihad Campbell, Mike Green, Mason Graham, Travis Hunter.
I got Abdul Carter, defensive end, Giants. Mikael Williams, defensive end, San Fran. Maxwell Harrison, defensive back, Buffalo. James Pierce Jr., defensive end, Atlanta. And then Donovan Ezaraku, defensive end, Dallas Cowboys.
All right, let's switch to offense.
The fun part of football.
Yeah.
Flashy. The Tush push didn't get banned. There's the Tush push. The best news of the week, baby. Oh man, I was heated that day.
You've been
single report. Every report was, even Schefter was like, "It's gonna get banned. It's gonna get banned. The NFL's gonna ban it," and I was livid. I was furious. It's so dumb that teams are like, "We can't stop it, so let's just ban it." Don't let them get the first 9 yards if you don't want them to get the one. Or just stop the play. Stop being babies. But nah, I'm so pro Tush push, baby. Hell yeah. I'm so happy.
You've been so hyper fixated and focused on this, and I've just been so nonchalant about it. I'm like, I don't care if they ban it. I don't care if they keep it. I personally hate the play, but whatever. Like, it is what it is. It stayed. It's fine. If it got banned, I don't think it would have affected the Eagles that much anyways. I still think Jalen Hurts has enough strength to just push through on his own to get these short
I agree.
first downs. But I did see a tweet from Thor Nystrom that was just like, I don't care about the Tush push, but Green Bay losing randomly on a Wednesday in May brings me nothing but joy. And that's where I am. Because the Packers...
Hell yeah, dude.
The Packers and Buffalo... Sean
Ugh.
McDermott was real whiny about it, and even though he ran
he's
it
a
the
little
second
baby.
most in the league,
Yeah.
like only Buffalo and Philadelphia ran the tush push more than 5 times last year.
Yeah.
And he's all player safety, but why are you running it then? Like, do you hate Josh Allen if you're so concerned about it getting hurt?
The whole reports of injury and the change of pace or slow of pace, dude, it's all just dumb bullshit to cry about, just reasons to try to ban it. None of those things are evident. They're not happening.
The only time it affected pace of play was the playoff game against Washington. That was Washington's fault.
Yeah, it wasn't Philly. It was jumping off sides.
Yeah.
I get why all the division teams voted against it, so the Giants obviously did. But if I'm in the division with the Eagles, I'm gonna vote against it. I don't care. We're in the same division. We play you twice a year. It is what it is. But thank God those 10 teams are out there that voted for it. I'm with every single one of them this year. Oh, my heart goes out to all of them.
Apparently, Philadelphia, they had like Jason Kelsey go to the meetings to kind of lobby for the tush push. Like they were there trying to sell, and they did their part. It had just missed passing, being banned. It was a 22-10 vote. So tush push stays at least this year. We'll see next year. I'm sure it's going to be brought back to the table.
It will be right here again next year, 100%. But Philly does play Buffalo and Green Bay this year, so I hope to God I just see a ton of tush pushes both those games.
I want to see a whole tush push drive against the Packers.
I think they could eat a whole quarter. I honest to God think they could eat a whole quarter. If you want to bitch about the slow of the pace of game, okay, well here's this card. We just held the ball for 15 minutes, so it is what it is.
Even if
I would be so salty, dude.
Even if they play it minimally and they just like, your problem's pace of play, and the Eagles just run the play clock to 1 second every drive.
Exactly. They just eat the clock, dude.
Would you rather us do that or do the tush push and whatever? Okay.
Philly's PR team has been on it, absolutely. They've been crushing the social media game, dude. I absolutely love it. I am in a world of joy knowing the tush push did not get banned. And Buffalo's still salty as hell, and Green Bay is still salty as hell.
Ben Johnson is as well. I don't know if you saw his press conference.
Yeah, well, he doesn't care about it. He's like, I like big explosive plays.
He's like, I'm not a tush push guy. Like, has a tush push ever resulted in a big play? And someone probably was like, well, it gets a first down or a touchdown. He's just like, but it is it a big play? No, it's not explosive. It's boring.
Yeah, solid answer by that guy in the crowd.
Hate the tush push. And so it'll be here. Great for Jalen Hurts' fantasy value because it'll get those rushing yards and rushing touchdowns still. All right.
Also, quick shout out to every team in Buffalo's division because they voted to keep it. The Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, all 3 of those teams voted yes.
I didn't even put that together. I saw the Ravens. I saw the Browns.
Detroit.
The Jets make sense because Aaron Glenn comes from the Detroit tree and Dan Campbell. So I'd be like, it's a football play. Stop it. That's always been his mindset.
Detroit is the only team that voted for it that plays Philly this year. They are the one out of the 10 that plays Philly, and that's Detroit style. That's Dan Campbell, baby. He doesn't care. Run the tush push, dude. We're men down here in Detroit.
Yeah, he'll just go for it on 4th down like a maniac. 4th and 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dan Campbell does not care, dude. So I absolutely love that. That's a ballsy move by Detroit. You guys play Philly this year, so shout out Detroit.
Yeah. All right. Let's
get offensively, baby. Hell yeah. This will be fun.
There are really 2 guys.
I disagree.
And the second guy is Cam Ward.
That I do agree.
He is that guy because he's a quarterback.
Exactly.
It is a quarterback award. Justin Jefferson didn't win Rookie of the Year. Justin Herbert did. Yeah, Brock Bowers. A tight end has
Brock Bowers last year did not win Rookie of the Year.
Won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So Brock Bowers had an historic season, but Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, all these guys showed up. So if the Titans, they play in a not-so-great division, if they're competitive, Cam Ward looks great, lives up to this number 1 pick status, he easily gets this award.
Sounds like you should take him. Take
Cam
Ward.
But I'm going to take Ashton Jeanty.
No. Take Cam Ward. Take Cam Ward, TJ.
Ashton Jeanty could theoretically be the best running back in football this year. That's how good he is, just right off the jump. In Vegas, they wanted this guy. They love this guy. I'm not so keen on Chip Kelly going out there and be like, you're not standing like that in the traditional Jeanty stand straight up pose. He's like, you're going to stand like a regular running back.
The Michael Myers.
Yeah, and Jeanty's just like, I'll play my way and earn my stance back. He's not too concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that wants to run the ball. Pete Carroll produces high impact running backs for his offense, Chip Kelly as well. So Chanty brings this excitement to a team that doesn't necessarily have a ton of passing options. Like you're looking at Jacoby Myers, who's fine. He's really underrated, really good number 2 wide receiver, but he's their number 1. Brock Bowers, elite option at tight end. But Janty is going to be the focal point of this offense. And if Vegas wants to win games in this really competitive division, they're going to have to play hard, smash mouth football against the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs to win these games, really wear them out. And that's where Janty comes in. It is the no-brainer pick.
I totally agree. I was kind of hoping he just ended up taking Cam Ward.
Well, I talked myself into the quarterback.
It's a quarterback award, so Cam Ward, if he just has a good season and Tennessee's 7-9 and they're decent, Cam Ward's going to probably win it. But yeah, Genty's the pick, dude. There's a chance he has 1,500 rushing yards, 400, 500 receiving yards, 2,000 total yards combined in a rookie season. That's unheard of. He's going to get the rock a ton out there in Vegas, dude. So phenomenal pick, but I'm going to take Cam Ward here with my pick. I think it's the obvious pick. After Cam Ward, it's kind of more of a question, but Cam Ward, like we've been saying, if Tennessee's decent and Cam Ward is good, he's probably going to win the award because he's a quarterback. And it's nothing against Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had a legitimate historic season as well. He took the Commanders to the playoffs. So I get why Brock Bowers didn't win. It's just super unlucky that Jaden Daniels is arguably the second best quarterback in the NFC, maybe the best quarterback in the NFC at this point after his rookie year. So Brock Purdy's took the L there. Brock Bowers, yes. Cam Ward's not going to do what Jaden Daniels did. He's not the rushing quarterback, but he's the super safe pick here. So I'm going Cam Ward. This is where it kind of gets open.
I disagree. I think there is one obvious guy who should be going here.
Oh boy, I thought I'd take him. I'm taking Quinshon Judkins.
Okay, not the guy.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes, see, this is why I disagree. I think Judkins is going to be the second best rookie running back, and I don't even think it's going to be close. I think he's going to be used identically to Nick Chubb in this offense. I don't think Jerome Ford is a good running back.
Those are fair assumptions.
They drafted Judkins with the 36th pick in the draft, so his draft capital's there. And who the hell's their quarterback? Is it Joe Flacco? Is it Kenny Pickett? Is it Dylan Gabriel?
Here's where I worry that Judkins can't produce because the Browns aren't going to be able to viably pass the ball, and I worry about their offensive line. They're not great. They did nothing to improve it, and that's where I worry that like Quinshon Judkins' talent and production ultimately becomes volume or it falters because of the people around him. But the window is there where he's a 1,300-yard back, double-digit touchdown guy.
Yeah, I think that's like the ceiling for sure. I think he could easily push over 1,200, 1,300 yards. Double-digit touchdowns every single year in college. He's a touchdown machine. He's going to find the end zone, and he's so explosive in the short distance that I'm not necessarily worried too much about the offensive line. He's going to hit any hole, even if it's super small, with so much speed and power that he's going to break off 6-7 yard runs constantly in the NFL. Very similar to how Bijan plays. He just takes these chunk plays and wears a defense down throughout the game. And Judkins is a guy that can get the rock 20, 25, 30 times a game. He has that body type where there's a couple guys in this draft that do not have that body type, and they're going to be more of a system kind of guy. But like I said, I'm not worried about Jerome Ford come halfway through this season. I don't think he's that good of a running back. I think Judkins has that backfield on a lock. You know how high I'm on Judkins, and it's showing right here, obviously.
I'm more concerned for Jerome Ford losing his job to Dylan Sampson than taking
100%
carries away in the long term from Quinshon Judkins.
I think this year we're going to ride out Ford, but come next season, it's going to be Dylan Sampson and Judkins back. Jerome Ford's going to be gone. He's not even going to be on the team, I don't think. So I am very interested to see who you had here.
No, it's Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah. See, no, I had him down further.
There's a world where Travis Hunter has 80 catches for over 1,000 yards double-digit touchdowns because of just how good he is with the ball in his hands in this high-powered Jacksonville offense. He's not going to be the focal point, so defenses aren't going to be focused on Travis Hunter. They're going to be looking at Brian Thomas Jr. over there, and I just think that Travis Hunter could blow out if Jacksonville's really good. I think that could outweigh, like, if Ashton Jeanty has a great season, but the Raiders are 6-12 or whatever, 6-11, and the Jaguars win their division. Travis Hunter, probably a big part in that from the offensive side. It also kind of gives me him. So if he wins either,
that is true.
I have him on both sides. I lock him in. I lock him in on the side I'm more comfortable with having him at wide receiver.
I would much rather have him here. I had obviously Genty, Ward, Judkins over him, and I still have two more people over him, but he's in the same bucket as those two guys for sure.
Yeah. So I just think he's likely, if you're trying to compare the offense for Cohen to Tampa, he's going to be in the Chris Godwin role because he works more underneath, middle of the field. And Chris Godwin was tearing it up last season until he literally tore up his leg.
Oh, sad.
But he was incredible there, and I think if you give that production and target share to Travis Hunter, his talent is enough to kind of propel him to that next territory.
For sure.
And then I am going to go with Amari Hampton for the Chargers. I'm not worried about Najee Harris. I think it will be more of a split, but Hampton's more explosive. He's better. I think if anything, Najee might take a couple touchdowns from him, and that's where you'll really see the effect on the stat sheet is Hampton might not have double-digit touchdowns, but I'm going to take my chances, take the running back that's paired with a Harbaugh, and there's a chance that Hampton just completely phases Najee Harris out of this offense, and the Chargers are a team who should be competitive, could win the AFC West, and that puts them in a lot of spotlight because Kansas City's there. People want to see the Chiefs lose, so the Chargers have a chance to do that. And again, they want to play this style ball. They want to run the ball a lot. Hampton is the kind of back who can carry the workload of a workhorse back. So I'm going to take the shot on him just outplaying Najee Harris and just phasing him out of this role. Plus, there's only a 1-year commitment to Najee, so it's not like they gave him a long-term deal. So I am going to Hampton. They spent first-round capital on him, so I'm comfortable with him even in a committee per se.
Yeah, I do like that. I had a couple guys over Hampton just based off Najee being there. And it's only going to be a year, I get that, but I do think Najee's going to be used a little bit all season. I think Najee's still going to push close to 8 touchdowns this year. I think he's going to take most of the touchdowns away from Hampton. But Hampton's going to be used a ton, and he's so good. There's not a thing I said wrong about Omari and Hampton throughout this whole process. I had him super close to Genty. I get it. I'm going to take I would have taken a different running back over him, and it's RJ Harvey. And yeah, RJ Harvey's my guy. I had him ranked as high as Sean Payton did apparently at 60. So, and he's with Sean Payton. And then that's what it's going to be here. If he could pull the Alvin Kamara role from New Orleans to Denver and do what Sean Payton is going to ask him to do, there's a chance he gets close to 80 catches out of the backfield this year. And then his seasons at UCF, dude, he was running the ball so well. Double-digit touchdowns constantly. More touchdowns scored than games played in college. He's a touchdown machine. So if you put 80 catches together with 1,000 yards on the ground, double-digit combined touchdowns, your name's going to be in the ring for Rookie of the Year regardless. So it depends on if you believe in RJ Harvey. I believe in RJ Harvey. It sounds like I'm voting for Harvey Dent. I believe in Harvey Dent. No, but RJ Harvey's been my dude throughout this whole process. I loved him. So getting him and Sean Payton with Denver is a true matchup making. I'm targeting him and Judkins, both the running backs I got a ton in fantasy football this year. Dynasty and redraft, I think both those guys are going to hit above their ADP, which is average draft position. So let's get it with both those guys. And I'm going to take the other quarterback, dude. I'm going to take Tyler Shuck, dog.
That was my next pick.
I'm sure. Yeah, if it's a quarterback award, we talked about it constantly. And he's got Kellen Moore as his coach, dude. He has one of the best coaches quarterback-wise in the world. And he's got Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed coming back healthy. I don't know, man. I don't love New Orleans, but I really like Tyler Shuck throughout the process, and he's got good weapons around him. Their defense is going to be fine. It's going to be hit or miss. They'll get the job done. But New Orleans in that weak division, if Tyler Shuck's able to pull out that miracle run and somehow win that division, Tyler Shuck's going to be in Rookie of the Year conversations. So give me Tyler Shuck here with RJ Harvey. And I'm very interested to see where you go here. I have one guy left in the same bucket as all of these guys. So I'm interested to see if you get that guy.
You brought up the terrible division in the NFC South, where it's really just Tampa at the top, and everything else kind of open. So I'm going to take the guy in that division. It's Teteroa McMillan. Panthers, high draft capital, and I think Carolina, if I had to pick a team and place a bet on someone winning that division that's not Tampa Bay, I think I would go with the Panthers based off just how it ended last year. Bryce Young taking a step in the right direction. They bring in this big body receiver that they don't have.
Dude, Ted's going to eat. Ted's going to eat like hell this year,
if Carolina sneaky win this division, it's going to, they're going to look at the addition and be like, well, the Teteroa McMillan is the biggest addition to this team. Yeah. And if he has the numbers to back it up, he is essentially like, you're going to be like, he's the guy. That's why it happened. Give him the Offensive Rookie of the Year votes. So he's got the draft capital, top 10 pick. He might be possibly the number one receiver on this team. He's definitely the most talented one right now. And it's just him putting it together. And
disrespect to Adam Thielen, my good sir.
But that's great for him that he gets to sit under the Adam Thielen tree. Like
100%. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm sure Adam Thielen played a big part in Justin Jefferson's development. You know,
100%.
He got Steph Diggs as well. Him and Thielen were there together. They kind of came in around the same time, but Thielen's always just kind of had that mentality.
He motivates guys. He's such a locker room guy, dude. Thielen's a great dude to be around.
Yeah, and Hunter Renfro's there now, and he's veteran presence. I think them two are going to be great for not just Teteroa McMillan, great for Jalen Coker, great for Xavier Legette. As a sneaky good receiving room.
It is. They have a couple good bodies there for sure. And I think it's really good for Legette as well. Like you said, they drafted him to be their big body receiver. And just because he plays big, he's not big. He's like 6'1". So he's not that big body receiver that they want him to be. And then this gives him the chance to open up the top what he was really good at in South Carolina his senior year. And you let Tet eat in the middle of the field with Thielen on these longer slant routes and just destroy defenses for chunk plays. And then you just let Legette take the top off, dude. I agree. I think they have a very sneaky receiving crew. I would take Atlanta if I had to take a long shot in that division over Tampa, but Carolina's right there with them, dude. It's definitely not New Orleans. No offense to Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, was McMillan the other guy in that bucket?
No, it's not.
Okay, all right. So my other pick, I don't think he's going to be in the bucket either because I know you're not big on him. I'm going with Matthew Golden.
Okay, that's not
I don't see him as a number one receiver, but he's in Green Bay. I honestly
don't have that guy on a list of 15 people.
He's in Green Bay, and the media loves the Packers.
Yeah.
And if the Packers win the division and Matthew Golden puts up the numbers, if he puts up number one wide receiver numbers, he's in the public eye situation just like that. Like these teams are seen. Matthew Golden's going to be a big part of that. He's going to be a big part of the offense. I don't necessarily truly believe that, but there's a shot that happens, and I don't want to be not sitting on Matthew Golden in my lineup. So I am going to go with Golden solely based on the fact he plays for the Packers, who are a media-driven team. The media loves them. And there's a chance, I don't think they do, but they're in one of the best divisions in football. They could win it, and that goes a long way in the media's eyes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to take a guy that it's almost guaranteed to be on a winning team this season, and it's Caleb Johnson, running back, Pittsburgh. Okay. I think he's going to be Pittsburgh's running back week 1. I don't think it's going to be Jalen Warren. I don't think that guy's capable of being a running back 1. I don't think his body type's built for it.
No.
Caleb Johnson is Najee Harris built. He's a one-cut runner. He's going to just slide right into the Najee role. Najee had 1,000 yards every single year in Pittsburgh. every single year. It wasn't a question if he wasn't going to get it or if he wasn't. He got it.
He got it
Caleb
this year?
Johnson's, I'm pretty confident. Caleb Johnson's going to have 1,000 yards this year. And I'm confident about that. You have 1,000 yards?
Oh, no, I was fooling you saying Caleb Johnson was going to have 1,000.
No, I'm confident about that.
You ain't got to sell me on Caleb Johnson.
I'm
he was
100%
top
confident.
25 for me.
Yeah.
Najee Harris had his second
Barely
most
1,000
yards in his career last year at 1,043.
Love to hear it. I don't care what that. That's 1,000 yards. And even if it's 1,043, Caleb Johnson's going to have 1,000 yards this year, and I'm almost confident about it. I think all of the rookie running backs, not all of them, obviously, but I think 5 or 6 of them are going to be very helpful fantasy football-wise this year. Drafted, I think they're all going to be like top 30, 35 backs. They're all going to be very useful guys. Caleb Johnson's one of them. Like, Jalen Warren's a really good backup number 2 running back. Caleb Johnson's the number 1. He's going to be the team starting running back, even if it's week 4. But it's going to be him in a team that is probably going to have a winning record because it's Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin doesn't lose games. He's never had a losing record. And there's a chance they make the playoffs. And if they're just running the rock with Caleb Johnson here, I think he could easily get to double-digit touchdowns, 1,000 yards. He's not going to be used in the receiving game because that's going to be Jalen Warren. But they're going to run the hell out of him here, dude. And I think he's going to have a great year in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, Caleb Johnson, running back, Pittsburgh, was the other guy in that bucket. And I'm not going to say who's a long shot because you still have 1 pick left. But I think there's a legitimate chance he wins, even though it would be historic.
Oh, you still have 1 more pick?
No, I'm done. I have Cam Ward, Judkins, RJ Harvey, Tyler Shuck, and
that's right. I
Caleb
went
Johnson.
first. I went first this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, if you want to give me a 6th guy, I'll take this guy as a wild card.
Okay, so I have Janty, Travis Hunter, Tet, and Matthew Golden, and Amari Hampton. I'm also done. I'm done.
Oh, who's your last pick?
Golden, Tet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hunter. I was just like,
that's funny.
Hampton and Genty.
Okay, so Colston Loveland went undrafted. Colston Loveland is that guy.
Yeah.
And I get tight ends have never won the award.
Won. That's why I didn't even look at either of those guys.
But let's say Tyler Shuck and Cam Ward are both average this year. It is what it is. Okay? None of them have the Jaden Daniels season. And this is the biggest if out of all of that. Genty needs to be average as well. If Genty has 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, but Colston Loveland does what Brock Bowers does, or what Sam Laporta did his rookie year with Ben Johnson in Detroit. So Colston Loveland, if he does what Sam Laporta did, double-digit touchdowns, 80-plus catches, he needs to have 1,000 yards, though. That's the one difference. Laporta only had 800. If Colston Loveland's able to get 80, 1,000, and double-digit touchdowns...
You pretty much combine the Brock Bowers and the Sam Laporta season.
Exactly. And I think Colston Loveland's capable of doing that in Ben Johnson's offense.
Okay. Wouldn't hate
I really think
that's my dude.
Colston Loveland is a wild card guy here, but it falls on both the quarterbacks not producing and Genty being average.
Honestly, we could have extended the offensive one to 8.
For sure. I have a ton of guys here.
Like, we didn't talk about Trevion Henderson, who's 7th in the betting odds.
I just think Ramondre's going to eat into so much of that backfield.
Yeah. I think
he's going to be the starter.
I think Henderson's going to be more valuable for fantasy than he's going to be real life award situation.
I agree. This season, I think next season, Henderson is going to be phenomenal.
I low-key considered Emeka Ibuka over Matthew Golden.
See, I think I would go Luther Burden over Ibuka.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are never healthy.
Yeah.
So there's that chance that Emeka Ibuka's just kind of the pseudo one because so-and-so's always hurt. So he's always the number 2 receiver on the field.
That's what happened to Jalen McMillan last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be the number 2, but at times he was also the number 1.
Yeah.
Mike Evans was constantly banged up. Chris Godwin missed half the season, and McMillan became the guy. He finished with 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I think there's a chance, if it's not Colston Loveland in that offense, it's Luther Burton. So I just like taking the Bears guys. I just like linking up with Ben Johnson here.
I think it'll be DJ Moore.
Well, yeah, because Luther Burton and DJ Moore are the same identical player.
Yeah. My favorite long shot, and I think is Will Howard.
Whoa.
Like, Aaron Rodgers still has not signed for this football team.
It'll happen. I'm confident.
It likely will happen, but
he's just not trying to be there for all this dumb bullshit stuff that happens early on in camps.
What if we're just wrong and he takes the year, or he doesn't? He waits. Maybe J.J. McCarthy starts slow for Minnesota. Minnesota's got a lot of primetime games early, and say Minnesota starts 1-4 or 1-5, and they go into their bye week 6 with 1 or 2 wins, and Aaron Rodgers is sitting out there and they bite the bullet.
I think Mike Tomlin's got to really question his winning record if he's going Will Howard week 1.
But I don't know if it'll be week 1, but I don't think Mason Rudolph is strong enough to hold Will Howard out of that job.
No, I agree to that.
And
I agree to that.
Pittsburgh plays good football, and if they just play smart football, sort of like San Francisco did with Brock Purdy and early on, and they didn't expect him to win, just go out there, be the manager. Teams are going to look at that. If they win the division, Will Howard's their quarterback. I think that gives them the nod. But he's plus 5,000 right now. I would throw a couple bucks at that.
Couple bucks his way. Yeah, no, for sure. I fuck with that. I do like that. But what was I going to say? I had something I was going to say. It's a risky thing too. Like Pittsburgh gambling here on Rodgers. Because as of right now, the only quarterback's name being discussed as a trade candidate besides Kirk Cousins is Joe Flacco. And I don't think the Browns are going to trade in division Joe Flacco to the Steelers to help them out. I don't think that would happen. It depends on what the Browns want to do. If they want to give Pickett and the 2 young guys a chance and just kind of quote for quote tank this year because you have 2 firsts next year, get your quarterback next year. Your defense is still going to be stacked. But I think Joe Flacco gives them the best chance to win games this year. I think with Joe Flacco, they could win 8-9 games because of that defense. It's not because of Joe Flacco. It's because of their defense. And I just think Kenny Pickett is not a good quarterback. And I think Dylan Gabriel's capable. I don't think he's going to be able to win games, though. No. And I'm not going to comment on Shedeur. I don't think he's NFL ready. Attitude-wise, I don't think he's mentally prepared for any of this. And that's why this whole process is kind of crumbled for him. But hopefully this is a shining light and he's able to turn it around because he's talented. Yeah. He's obviously talented. So
yeah, but yeah, I like the sneaky couple bucks on Will Howard. And there's a chance he's the starter. We don't know. It's
100%.
It is every day without Rodgers going there. My percentage of him actually signing in Pittsburgh goes down a little bit. I'm still at 85% that he's there, so it's still incredibly high.
I'm still high 90s.
it also wouldn't surprise me if Aaron Rodgers isn't on a team to start the year and he kind of waits out for an injury, or like I said, if Minnesota starts off poorly, they bring him in after the London trip. He gets the whole bye week to prep, learn the Kevin O'Connell offense. And we've seen Kevin O'Connell go out there, put Josh Dobbs, who got there 3 days beforehand, know nothing, and win a football game off of it. So I think that is also a world of possibility where Pittsburgh is just unprepared and they're going in with Will Howard and Mason Rudolph this year.
I think they would pull the trigger and try to get someone. Kirk Cousins would be a good landing spot there. He's the guy that could just run the offense, dip the ball to DK Metcalf and let him cook. So, yeah, who was your offense? Quick run that over again.
So I had Ashton Jeanty for the Raiders, Travis Hunter for the Jaguars, Amarian Hampton, Chargers running back, Teteroa McMillan for the Panthers, and Matthew Golden for the Packers, both wide receivers.
And I had quarterback Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans, running back Quinshad Judkins from the Browns, RJ Harvey, running back from Denver, Tyler Shuck, quarterback, New Orleans, and then Caleb Johnson, Pittsburgh, running back. That's how we got onto the whole Pittsburgh tangent. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I started typing out depth charts, going to start statting out guys for fantasy football. I'm super excited to dive into that, especially these rookies, dude. I think all these rookie running backs are going to be super valuable in fantasy football. So I'm really excited to see where they all fall.
So you're a little more excited. A lot more excited.
A lot of it. I'm very excited for fantasy football.
I'll be transparent on the podcast. I'm not looking forward to the fantasy grind and whatnot, but I'm still doing it because of the podcast. But I think this might be the first year in fantasy where I just don't pick based off my rankings. I might just go with just guys I vibe with.
DJ's taking Nico Collins 1-1 every draft.
Ashton Jeanty, Brian Thomas Jr., Bucky Irving. They're going to be the guys I'm vibing with this year. I think they're going to be my most like 3 drafted dudes.
Dude, but Bucky Irving is a very interesting topic in the fantasy world right now. His ADP is insane right now. He's going like RB6, RB5 or 6. He's going high as hell, dude. That's a little bit rich for my liking. I'm not going to lie to you right about now. So,
how would you rank him dynasty wise though? Would you have him in right around like that area?
I'd probably have him like 8 to 10 off the top of my head.
I do have my dynasty ranking somewhere, and
I would personally take Chase Brown in redraft and dynasty over Bucky Irving.
Okay.
I'm very high on Chase Brown, and I understand that. I just think he's Joe Mixon now, and I love Joe Mixon.
I love Chase Brown. You don't gotta sell me there. Bucky Irving is my RB5 in Dynasty.
Oh, that's high.
That's my dude. Hey.
A little high for my liking, doggy.
It's Bijan, Gibbs, Janty, Barkley. They're the only guys I have over him.
Yeah, I would have to think about that. Wrap it up here.
We'll do Dynasty rankings here.
Oh yeah, we got fantasy stuff right around the corner.
In the coming weeks before we do our redraft rankings, we could do some Dynasty talk. We'll get that in as well. So there you go, Drafted Up Podcast. You know where to find us.
Still talking about rookies, baby.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
But this pretty much puts a ribbon on it. Puts a bow.
I was gonna say the rookie class is pretty much in the books, unless we're talking fantasy and then we're talking the rookies, obviously.
Yeah, we're talking everybody.
It's pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. Ends the 2025 rookie class.
Yeah, so we'll put a bow on that. Fun class, better.
We'll come back to it next year when we see who won the awards, see who had the winners and whatnot.
Yep, and
then we'll see how all the rookies are doing.
2024's draft class was really strong, and we were like, 2025, it's I had a lot more fun with it than I thought it would. I enjoyed a lot of the guys.
It was so deep, dude. It was so deep, especially at like tight ends had like 6-7 guys that I think are going to have a high impact. Running back, there was like 20, 30 guys that I was like, oh, these guys are kind of good.
Yeah, we get to talk about a bunch of that position last year because it was Brock Bowers and nobody.
Exactly. There was one tight end and then the 2 or 3 running backs that were decent, but they would have been like RB10 in this draft, dude.
Yeah. So, Drafted Up Podcast, you know where to find us. Twitter at @DraftedUp_pod. More importantly, the show. It's on Apple, it's on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. Like, rate, subscribe, review, share, all that stuff. Whatever you got to do. Give us 5 stars. We appreciate all the support from you guys. As always, you guys are wonderful. You keep the show here going, and then support our sponsors. Finley Force, there will be a link in the description. Click it, you'll get 15% off if you're a first-time buyer. You'll support them, you'll support the podcast. And then our friends over at Dubby Energy, as always, use the code DRAFTEDUP. You'll get a nice 10%er. That's any time you purchase. You can make 50 purchases. That code will work every time.
Every time, Nick. Baby.
I'm Theo. We out.
Hell yeah. Keep pushing on, everybody.
Yeah. Keep pushing. Oh, Jesus. We're going home.